Love Squad. I am legendary. Okay, how about that? This was definitely the Legends and Legendary episode. If you're listening to this, then it's already spoiled. So don't get mad at me when I spoil it some more. Add this video to your like list, like it, come back afterwards for commentary and predictions, a little bit more analysis, a little bit more insight. Now, let's do introductions, all right? I'm Kim, aka Glam Powered, Glam Powered, and welcome to Fandom. This is the prediction and analysis for Lovecraft episode 7. I am okay. Once again, spoiler alert. If you don't want this episode to be spoiled, like it and come back after you watched it, okay? So my notes typically include people. We're going to be talking about these people and their personalities and their little situations in this episode. Context, who, what, when, where, why, how. Okay, concepts. These are themes and just things that came to me, really like the analysis portion of the situation. Favorite scene, prediction, what do I think is going to happen next? And y'all, my predictions, a lot of my predictions came true in this episode, okay? So I be knowing stuff. I be knowing things, questions, and tidbits. You know, this is a really, really educational series. There's always some drop. Always some knowledge drop for you to know about. They be educating us up in this series, and I love them for it. It's such a rich series. So let's get into it. Let's start with people. So, Montrose, aka can't deal with his emotions, aka ungrateful, aka I wish he would. How dare he? Sammy cooks for the man, and all the man can do is criticize and pick apart? What? Montrose. You know, if Montrose is involved, then it's going to be difficult. Ooh. I mean, Michael K. Williams, man, you gotta have to get your aura cleansed after playing this character. He is such a difficult character. So difficult. Then we have Tick, aka processing his emotions. He's been processing his emotions this whole series. But this episode, that was a lot to process. Letty, aka the secret keeper. Ruby, she's slick though, because she is spy, right? And we have Beyonce, that celestial being with the gorgeous afro. Her name is Beyonce. Like I said, legendaries, okay? So that's all I have to say. Oh, but you know what? We had those cameos by the madams, Josephine Baker, Frida Kahlo, and Miss Bessie Stringfield, okay, on her motorcycle, zoom, getting it in and inspiring us to do great things. Now let's get into the context. So Hippolyta is becoming undone. She's going through a lot, going through her grieving process, and there is an itch that you know that feeling when you want to scratch, but you just can't get to it? There's something like that last little puzzle piece that she's trying to get in regarding the orrery in the opening scene. She's like, I know there's something. She is grieving, so she's half crazy. You know, that's happening. So by the time that all of this has happened, you know, Hippolyta and Dee have already been to Artem, and Hippolyta knows her husband died there because there was a piece of the comic book that Dee makes in the rubble. And, you know, she has the evidence, the physical evidence in her hand, believe what she was told. She's like, nah, something ain't right. Something ain't right. You can see her, sense George's spirit as she speaks to him on the bed, because she's like, you know, that point where you're almost about to give up on something and you're just like, I'm sorry. You know, she apologizes for not figuring out the problem. And in that moment, she realizes what she needs to. And honey, ain't that the way the universe works? As soon as you let it go, it comes to you. She was blind and then she was seeing, okay? She realized the planets needed to be tilted on the way they rotate on their axes. So she figured it out. And then the orrery finally opened up, and there's a key inside with coordinates to the observatory, which turned out to be an observatory that allows you to create a wrinkle in time. Okay, she literally creates a wrinkle in time in this episode. It is so cool to like see the visual of that. Now we have Christina, Quilliam, however you want, whatever you want to call it, Wilstina, whatever. She at the house with Ruby. I mean, the bomb has been dropped that she is who she is and not who Ruby thought she was. And Ruby's like, okay, here we go. So now you need to tell me all the things, including what's up with this basement you keep coming in and out of. So she finds out what's in the basement, right? And she finds out where all the blood is coming from this blood magic that Christina has been using. And Ruby gets filled in on the details. And you know how Christina is. She's selective. So and will twist stuff to suit her. So ain't no telling what version of we know she was told the truth, but we don't know which version of the truth she was told. Okay. So, but she finds out that Christina and Will had a relationship, and it ended, and, she was using his blood to continue to be him, and that the blood spell was actually his spell. She just finished it. Okay. I'm real curious. Question coming up. He was shot in the back. That's what she said by Lancaster. I want more details about that. I want more details. So there's that. And then we find out, rather, Tick gets confirmation that his father is in fact gay, right? This is a difficult scene with Montrose. Montrose is busy dogging out Sammy, and you know what? Go Sammy. Sammy was not having it either. Okay. So he's prone to be involved in some foolishness with his emotions. And anyways, Letty and Tick run into Montrose and Sammy having an argument in the hallway, and it all becomes clear. The little light bulb goes off above Tick's head as he realizes that what he sensed and what had been rumored was true. Now, he could have reacted better, but he did react in accordance with the times. Okay, it is, people still ain't that open-minded. We're a lot more open-minded than we used to be. But the language used was the language that was the language of the times. Okay, unfortunate that we're still having to change our language and wordage around. Y'all know what he said if you watch. If you didn't watch, but yeah, that happened. Okay, so. After that incident, Tick proceeded to process years of physical abuse and realized that it was never about him. It was never about him. All that suffering he went through was because of his dad and his suffering, right? Okay. Then, Tick and Letty need to borrow the car because they realize the book of names may still be available. And, they need to go visit a cousin. I think it was St. Louis, right? Hippolyta is not having it. She has just figured out how to get that key out of the orrery, and she is getting to the bottom of what happened to her husband. She tells them off. How dare they? How dare Tick? And leaves. Okay. Then they realize they're going to have to catch the bus because they are not taking Woody today. So anyways, while they're doing all that, Ruby is there because she's got to watch Steve. Somebody has to watch Steve while Hippolyta goes off on her adventure, right? So Ruby gives Letty stank eye, lets her know she's dirt, she's filth, she's nothing with her eyes, gun with the eyes, and turns and walks away. And they basically have a reconciliation. But Ruby is now a spy, so it's shady. It's been shady all around from both Letty and but now Ruby is involved in the shade, okay? So everybody's hands is dirty at this point. So while Letty is at Hippolyta's house, she decides to stay, right? And they patch things up, like I said, and it's going on fine. Something that happens that I didn't include in my notes here is, we find out that Letty's pregnant. She's having dreams. Okay. Hannah's visiting her in her dreams. She then already visited Tick. They having the same dream with a little variation for customization for each one. And Ruby's in the kitchen cooking dinner, and Letty can't stand the smell of garlic. Now usually she loves garlic. Now when you don't like your favorite things, or when smells is hitting you a certain way and they wasn't hitting you a certain way, yeah, you might be pregnant, right? So that's what happens, okay? And they're each asking each other's questions. What's going on? Where you been? Prying, both of them. And neither of them are really fully truthful about what's happening, because they can't be. They don't know what the other knows just yet. And it is what it is. Like I said, shady all the way around. Okay? So anyways, Letty stumbles upon the Ori in Hippolyta's room, and she's like, oh, the Ori's been here the whole time. She calls Tick and is like, yo. Hippolyta knows, right? And Tick is having his own experience with the friend of his cousin, who's, informing him about what little she knew about the family, because everybody is gone and passed on. And she shows him a picture of her, and he realizes he has the same birthmark, that mysterious birthmark that comes, he sees it on his back. He's like connecting his own little dots, but he has to go now because he knows that Hippolyta is in danger. And Hippolyta, she doesn't know everything. She just knows this one thing, right? So yeah, she is in danger. She makes it to the observatory, and guess who's there? Lancaster's men are there. His Popo crew is there to protect the observatory. They catch her in the act, and Tick has to come in and save the day. She shoots one of the officers, and the other one gets thrown into the wrinkle in time that's created, and then they both get sucked in. Right? So then Hippolyta, this is her episode. She struggles at first with the whole interdimensional time travel business, but she got it together, right? She figured she adjusted. It took her a moment. She had to talk to Beyonce, this interdimensional being with this glorious afro. I mean, like, she's a goddess, honey. I mean, the fro was on point. Goddess, okay? Okay, celestial goddess. Had to talk to Miss Beyonce and get it together. Had to learn, the I am situation to get from point A to point B and go through her process. So anyways, first she joins Josephine Baker, in addition to fighting with the legendary Dahomey women, which we'll talk about more later on in the tidbits. And yes. My favorite part was her reunion with George. She reunites with George, you guys, in an alternate timeline. The timeline really, it's very much like the first episode, that first scene when they're together. But this time it was different, because she talked about how she had to make herself small to fit into the narrative that was prescribed to her, and life and conditioning, and she told George he contributed to that. And that was her therapy, y'all. Okay. So she got to see her honey and tell him the truth of the matter. And she had, she got the opportunity to figure it out for herself. This was a very, very therapeutic, roller coaster like episode. And it ends with Tick coming out of his wormhole with a book entitled Lovecraft Country by George Freeman. Okay. Then we hear these sirens and all this stuff going off, and he's freaking out and pressing all the buttons on the time machine, and Hippolyta has not made it back yet, and it looks like she's locked up in the machine. He took the key. He was smart enough to do that, but it looked like he broke the daggone thing. So that's how it ended. I don't know how she gonna get out of that. If she wants to come back, she gonna need to, because I know what's coming next. I read a book. I should say I listened to the audio book. She really does need to come back, because this next episode, y'all, wait till y'all see what happens. She needs to come back for her baby. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's that. And let's move on to the concepts. So first we have love is not allowing yourself to get bullied. Let me say that again. Love is not allowing yourself to get bullied. Sometimes we think, oh, but I love them, so I'm going to let them talk to me like they crazy. How about not? take a clue from or cue from Sammy. He did not sit there and accept that foolishness from Montrose. That man got up. He said, you know what? You're not about to play me for no sucker again. He got up and walked out. Okay. Sometimes you got to do that. You got to do that. Love is being a mirror. Okay. Sammy is reflecting Montrose back to himself. That's the soul purpose, soul connections, relationship ties and all that right there. Okay. Love is being a mirror. And you know what? In some ways, I think Tig and Letty, they're doing some similar work where they're paralleling each other in some ways and supporting each other in ways that they need, right? So that you got to know how to support your loved one vibrationally. And I should say more specifically, your lover vibrationally. And we see that demonstrated there. Okay. Finding out your entire childhood was a lie. Lies. Now, I'm going to say this because Tig has said, what was that? I think in episode 5, he had said that the love between his mother and father was, I forget the exact word he used, but he had said it was like unusual or something. So I know that he sensed, but he didn't know, right? He didn't know. When Tig asked, did Mama know? And Montrose just came out and was like, yeah. He knew. He knew. His spirit knew, even if his mind was not ready to accept that truth. Okay. But finding out that your mama lied, your daddy lied, all them beatings you got was a lie, just lies all around, that's tough. Okay. Then we have Tig, who is the wounded healer. And he is. He's not only the wounded healer, but he's the wound healer. This is his job. He's got to save the rest of his bloodline. And some of us, that's our responsibility, spiritually speaking. We got to break these family curses and stuff off of us so that the next generation does not repeat the same nonsense. That's a large part of what this story is about. Okay, breaking these curses. Tig is doing the work, hunty. He is doing the work. He does not want to repeat Montrose. No, we not doing that. And to a degree, his mama either, right? Each generation is hopefully evolving and getting better. And Tig is definitely in alignment with that sentiment. Then we have the concept of leaving yourself only to meet yourself again. This is a full circle experience that we see Hippolyta having. She starts off, on her journey of healing and finds herself again, but from a different vantage point, a different perspective. Okay. Experiencing freedom for the first time. Oh, this ties into my favorite scene. One of them was, oh God, Black people, you need to get out and travel. You need to go live overseas. I'm telling you, it will change your life. You have not experienced freedom until you have lived someplace else, especially Black Americans. Y'all, you got to get out. Go for at least a year. I know, it's challenging. Even if you could just go for a month, get out. I'm telling you, your whole life will change. Your whole perspective and processing. And we see that happen for Hippolyta, and something inside her unlocks that needed to be unlocked, because you know what? She is now a widow and a single mom. She needs to be this version of herself to pull that off. She can't be the way she was. It doesn't work. Feel me? She has to be this unlocked version. And now she is. I am. So yeah, that freedom bit, ooh, that is some powerful medicine right there. And that ties into the favorite scene. So she experiences that freedom when she goes to Paris. And it's performing with Josephine Baker. We see her enjoying her libations, cocaine, looks like some ganja, dating various genders, exploring, experimenting, dancing, exposing herself to the world, because in burlesque, you reveal what is hidden. Right. So we see all that, and it's just such a liberating experience. So it was just such a rich, rich experience to witness and to see visualize. They did a great job with that scene. Okay. She also said in that scene, I felt like they just found a smart way to lynch me without me noticing the noose. That line, I mean, she just was dropping them, dropping bits and bots with that line. Like, ascribing to the belief that this is the way you are and who you are and what you ought to be. Nah, I am. You choose. And ain't that the Black story? And we still choosing. We still unlocking and unfolding these layers and petals within our collective consciousness, within the culture. Because we have to. There is so much to unpack, right? We still busy unpacking. I am, right? Such a powerful thing. I also wanted to touch on Tick and Letty's intimate scene before heading to Hippolyta's, to the garage or the travel agency. Like, I loved the natural comfort and affection that we see between them. They have really grown and evolved as a couple these past episodes, and it was just so nice, so pleasant. And I honestly feel like we have not really seen that depicted too much. These couples are very, well, except for maybe Montrose and Sammy, very loving Black couples. I'm going to say that again. Very loving Black couples. It's just so nice to see that depicted and have it be normalized. Okay. Instead of all the baby mama drama and baby daddies and all. No, we're not doing that. That's not what's happening. And I'm here for it. Okay. And George's return. Oh, it was just like, yes. It just such a joy to see him again. I was waiting, and I told y'all that guess who had the book of names? I told y'all that. And I told you George wasn't dead. And there you go. He ain't dead. I'm so happy. Now let's get into my next predictions. Okay. First of all, Tick's mom is the only one who survived the massacre in Tulsa. So that mark, whatever that birthmark is protective. That's one thing. That's a protection mark. Okay. But it must be activated in some way. And I feel like that's going to come in handy for Tick. I do feel like there's something about it that has to be activated. I don't feel like it's because he doesn't know the rituals and all that stuff. He's seeking that knowledge now. There's something else that's got to happen. That hasn't happened yet. They have that mark, just like Will had his mark of Cain, right? There's something about that, but usually traditionally with these marks, there's a ritual or process that must happen. And Tick didn't even know he was a wizard until a couple episodes ago. So I think that there's a figuring out to that must happen, and we'll see. But that's part of my prediction. And I think that we're also going to see more of Cousin Ethel this season, because why would she be an honorable mention? Why would they go through all that for her to be an honorable mention? I do feel like and she's dead, right? So her presence or something, she might be coming through to a dream. There might be a mediumship situation happening. Something. I really do believe that, because she has that knowledge the way that Hannah has the knowledge that she has. Okay. And they can communicate beyond the veil. Hannah's been doing it through dreams. So, that's not a stretch to me. I do think that her spirit will also come back. Cause they gave us a little bit too much information for her to not come back, in my opinion. Okay. So that's that. Now let's get into the questions. So do you guys know if it's traditional for an orrery to light up? I say that because when Hippolyta figured out how to align the orrery and open it, it lit up. And she said something like, light up, like she knew. So I was wondering, if you know about orreries, do you know if that's a thing? Let me know. And what do you think about Christina and her being true to Ruby? Okay, she affirmed that she was being truthful and honest and all that. But what do y'all think? Because my thing is, like I said, I'm sure she told her a version of the truth, because it's Christina. But that was a version. Was it the absolute truth? I doubt it. That power dynamic is still there. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so Letty keeps getting deeper and deeper into this situation, or not Letty, Ruby. Ruby keeps getting deeper and deeper into this situation, right? Do you think she's getting in over her head? I've said this before. I'm saying it again because she's gone yet another level into the depths of this. Now she's spying on her own sister, something she probably never thought she would do in a million years. So what y'all think about that? And where would you have gone if you had the chance to time travel? Ooh, that's probably my favorite, interesting question. Where would you go? I already know that I would have to go on back to ancient Egypt because I got secrets back there that I could use today. I need to access these secrets. So I need to know what go on and what can I use today. Okay, that would be real helpful. Okay. And do you think Ticket's ready to be a dad? I do believe that he would be a better father than Montrose. Fact. Times infinity. But do you think he's ready to be a dad? What do y'all think? And at this point, Ruby has secrets of her own. So how salty can she really be at Letty? Do you think it's fair for her to be salty at this point? I mean, sis, y'all both on the level with these secrets now. I'm just saying. So there is that. How fair is that? And then, what would you name yourself? Another great question from the episode. What would you name yourself? Okay. And lastly, are you shrinking yourself? I'd say that 99% of us have done this. Okay. Narcissists, they tend to not do this. And that is a problem within itself. But, for the rest of us, are you shrinking yourself? That could be a little journaling prompt for you right there. Okay. Be honest. Now let's get into the tidbits. Okay. So according to BBC.com, the Dahomey Amazons were frontline soldiers in the army of the Kingdom of Dahomey, a West African empire that existed from 1625 to 1894. Its remnants lie in modern-day Benin, which occupies a sliver of the coast between Nigeria and Togo, okay? Whether in conquering neighboring tribes or resisting European forces, the Amazons were known for their fearlessness. They were warriors, honey, warriors. And in one of the final battles against the French in 1892, before the kingdom became a French colony, it is said only 17 out of 434 Amazons came back alive. And I think that we saw that depicted in Hippolyta's scene, right? That was the last of them. I mean, they was about to die when she exited the scene. She gave them some empowering words, but then she bounced. I was like, ugh. That was a little cringy to see, but it is what it is. She had to go on with her journey. So also, in that same scene, we had this awesome rock music playing. That music, guys, is by a band called Mother's Finest out of Atlanta. They're a black rock band. I didn't know about them. I thought that was dope. Mother's Finest. I just thought I would share that with you if you're interested. Okay. And lastly, I'll be on my insightful, intuitive, spiritual tip. Okay. Massive amounts of healing and self-discovery comes in stages. This was depicted in Hippolyta's adventures, okay? Her consciousness expanded after each experience, such as life. Stages, step by step. Okay, you gotta crawl before you bawl. You gotta crawl, then walk, then run. Stages, and we see that. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. It has been such a joy to be bringing you these videos and doing these things. Stay tuned for my Fargo analysis, which I'm planning to have up soon. I'm not going to commit to no dates. I'm not going to do that to myself. Hopefully tomorrow. I'll say that. Hopefully. And that's it. You are loved. Comment, let me know where you would go, who you would be, like, subscribe, stay blessed, not stressed. See you next time.